The story of leather begins with primitive man, who were the first human beings to use the skins of animals for protection against the environment. In a very short time, these skins decayed and rotted. Early tanning was probably stumbled upon by accident, perhaps by leaving the skin in a puddle containing rotting vegetation. The tannic acid contained in rotting vegetation preserved and converted the rawhides into leather. As the years went by, man grew more experienced in leather making and found that leather could be used for many purposes. One early discovery was that water could be kept fresh and cool in a leather bag. Later, tents were made of leather, as were beds, carpets, armour and harnesses. By the time the Romans invaded Britain, leather making was an important trade. The main material used in tanning was the bark of oak trees. Still today, oak bark tanning is carried out in Britain for the soles of footwear. When the hides were thoroughly tanned, they were hauled out of the pits and allowed to dry. Then they were stretched, followed by a pummeling with oil and tallow to make them pliable. Finally, they were dried in the open air. During the Middle Ages, the members of various trades in Britain organised themselves into guilds, and the leather workers were among the first to do so. During the time Sir Dick Whittington was Lord Mayor of London, some of these guilds had joined together to form the leather sellers. The guilds were powerful and imposed strict rules on apprentices and members to ensure the quality of craftsmanship. The leather sellers would not allow any goods to be sold after dark, because the poor artificial light in those days made it impossible for customers to inspect the goods properly. Records show that by 1634 there were 6,000 coaches on the streets of London. Travellers soon created a demand for leather trunks and cases. In Cromwell's time, leather was used for upholstery, and after the Restoration, leather wall panelling became fashionable. Leather fire buckets were made, and in 1670 a fire engine was invented which had a leather hosepipe. The Industrial Revolution saw demand increase as machinery needed to be driven, and the leather industry provided leather for belts and hinges. In the early 1900s, chrome tanned leather became the most common form of tannage. With all the new material we hear about today, leather is still the most suitable material. The reason is to be found in the remarkable and unique structure of leather, made up of millions of tiny string-like fibrils, each finer than a hair. Nature has given us a thermostatic material which ventilates, cools and warms to protect us from climatic extremes. It is a material that has stood the test of time. Leather is the ultimate recycled product, being a byproduct of the meat industry. Modern life without this wonderful material would be a very different place.